it makes me think about the 1st of January, like the first week after the New Year's, when everyone is going to the gym because they made good resolution. And then the week after, we don't see them anymore. So we'll see if Nick and others, Alcine, are coming back next week. That's a challenge accepted. Come 2 weeks in a row to the gym. Okay, so new page 1104. Now we have 1118. And Victoria, harvest, when is that? Victoria.
We can't hear you, Vicky.
Usually works. Okay.
Hear me now?
Okay. Yes.
Hello.
Yep, we can hear you now, Vicky.
And she can't hear us. Oh.
So are you thinking about next year's harvest already, Sebastian?
Yeah, I mean, she's here, so it's just to advertise the next one.
We haven't started yet, I think.
You haven't. You don't know.
Or
maybe
Vicky did today. I don't know.
People were already discussing about the next location before the current one.
Yeah, I know. That's a good sign.
Okay, maybe Victoria will be there one day. At least with both microphone and headphones. So last week, no meeting because harvest. Zoltan, you want to say something? Or do you have something to say?
Not much. I enjoyed it very much, by the way.
Cool.
I think it was better than last year. We are getting
what?
a bit better. It wasn't.
So interesting. What do you think was better and not better?
Well, first of all, there were no talks about shapes. That was a big plus.
So it's better?
No. We had, I think, a bit more energy in the room, also because we had a bit more people. I missed our American friends though, not many from the US.
It's too far away. It was a pain. I spent more time traveling than at the conference.
Well, it's the same for Europeans in the other area.
Twice more time. Yeah. Okay, did the recording work well, Benedek?
Yeah.
You don't know.
Well, more or less. I haven't checked everything, but
okay.
As much as I can tell, it's all right. Yeah.
And the sound? Good.
Actually, I did check many of the sound. Okay, I will check, but actually our colleague Milan is going to edit the videos. So, but I think he already checked the sound files because he also has them. We'll do a funny voiceover if we have missing audio.
You will do that. Okay.
Sure.
Awesome.
I can try a French accent, you know.
Awesome. Any other harvest topic? Or we go to the technical stuff then?
Probably after that, but we can pick up where we left off at harvest with the bus people about integrating the blocks concept or that approach that they have showcased with the user-friendly widget into Orchard Core.
Yeah, we're on the call. Hello, everyone.
So is Buzz a topic for today?
As blocks.
Blogs.
Blocks.
Blocks. I was at the session. Buzz blocks. So is that what you want to talk about today, or specifically today, or not specifically today? I don't know, Nick.
We have another demo if anyone's interested. Alquin's got a demo ready.
If you have a demo, let's do the demo.
Yeah.
Because the recording is not available and some people here or online don't know what you're talking about.
Sure.
Was that the block demo? Because I also brought a new HTML editor demo as well to show if there's time. I know that I spoke to Zoltan over Discourse about the Quill editor, but it's not vital compared to the blocks.
Depends on the priorities and the timeline you want.
Of course.
To push things. Like if you want to wait for your blog session to be available on YouTube so people can see it and then we can talk about it, or if you want to do a new demo about that to make progress on what we can do in Orchard Core, it's up to you. But the HTML one is also interesting because nobody knows about nothing. Well, we've seen that too, right? Yeah. Is it the same component you showed? Yeah, for the HTML editor. So.
It's since I got home, I was quite motivated after leaving the conference. I've actually improved it since then. But,
that's nice. Let's start with that to be smaller, so more isolated, if you want.
So shall I demo now then?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Let me just get my my view sorted out. Okay. One second, I'm just. Okay. It's arguing about shutting Teams down and letting permissions kick in. I'll just try one more time to share and then I might have to go and yeah. I will be back. Sorry, guys.
I think we can do the status before that.
Status. What did people do while we were out? Orchard 1, Benedek did nothing for the past 2 or 3 weeks. So the news, Orchard Core. What do I have here? Oh, that's George playing. Okay, so I will check out that. Last meeting was 11:04, so we are going to there. So long ago. So we have 2 branches here. What's happening? What's happening? So the red one we ignore, and we should just look at the main one. Main. Ignore Copilot. Okay, good. Okay, well, I was showing something, but apparently I'm not showing, so we'll go back.
Sorry.
No worries. Go on.
Okay.
No, you can go. You can go. I haven't started anything. So.
Okay, great. Sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to demo the HTML editor that we've created using Quill.js rather than TrumboWig. What we've got is so what I've done is to demo, I've just created a basic content item with 3 different versions of the editor. So so we can start with the middle one, which is kind of like a full. Actually, let's go in and edit that one. So what I've done since we've got back is we were kind of using Quill, but not really using all of it. So now I've created a kind of a UI for setting up the editor. There's 2 themes. So when we demoed it at Harvest, we showcased a kind of a paired back UI, which when you hover over brings up a menu, or when you select text brings up a menu, and a full-blown editor theme. So you can switch between those. I'll show those in a second. And also, in order to build the toolbar, you've got drag and drop system here, where you can kind of come in and remove various items and move things around to build up your menu. So if I pop back and head into my content types, I've got one set up here which has all three editors. Sorry, edit. So here's the three editors that I've created out of that menu selection for the demo. So the first one is the pared back version of the demo of the menu. So when you select text, you get this pop-up, and you can obviously add your various formatting and styling. And then you've got so this is the bubble theme, this is the snow theme. One's really great if you're working with content and the designers have kind of paired or given you certain style properties, like being able to change a single color to italic in a title or something like that. So this, on the Buzz site, we've got green text as kind of one word is green, the rest of it is black. And so it's really nice for giving the content creators something that's quite minimal, allows you to add certain styles to a title maybe. And then you've got your kind of blog entry or your news, recent news kind of entry. Down here, I've got another example of the various kind of pared back menus. As we said at Harvest, we try and constrain our users so that they can experiment and be create interesting layouts, but not let them go too mad with themes and styles and adhere to branding style guidelines. So this helps us reinforce that. If I go back to the actual builder for it, we've got some different templates here to start off with. So you can have like a minimal template where you've just got bold, italic, and a standard, which gives you most of the styling stuff, and then the full one that gives you some of the more complex stuff like media, images. I haven't got the videos working yet, but the images work, and that side of things. And you can, to organize it, you can name them and drag stuff over. We've also got a default color palette that the color selector will use, but you can also come down here and add various colors. We're using the default HTML picker at the moment for the color, but I think I'd like to make that a little bit nicer to use. I think there's a few things that maybe could be used with TrumboWig as well. So this editor could even be ported over to the TrumboWig editor so that you've got either a drag and drop or the JSON. But that's where I'm at with this at the moment, if there's any questions. And that's the output from some of it on a basic template. So yeah.
The editor, you made it? It's not part of Quill?
Sorry, this drag and drop UI here is ours, and then obviously everything you see in this bit here is standard Quill. So it's all about.
It looks too professional to be. No, it doesn't look like something you would make just for AuditTrail.
It was I got a bee in my bonnet when we came to Harvest, and I wanted to try and make the UI a bit nicer. So I spent a couple of days.
I got confused when you said we should have the same editor for TrumboWig. I'm like, what? Why is he talking about? And now it makes sense because you made it. So you said, oh, we could make the same editor for TrumboWig because today it's a JSON file, right? And
exactly. Yeah. So this is basically just a way of stopping the injecting JSON, even though it's sanitized. This keeps it, safe. So you're only changing properties rather than building up.
So
JSON.
wherever we use JSON in AuditTrail, we could ask you to make an editor for it.
100%. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We have lots of JSON, right?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, and I'd be more than happy.
Okay, so that's the, let me see. You are in content types. So you are in the field here, or are you in the editor of the HTML field or the text field or whatever?
Yeah, so it's the HTML field, and basically
usually Quill editor. Okay.
You'd switch over to Trumbowig there. For us at the moment, we've got the Quill editor one, which just has a kind of GUI to it.
I have the Quill page open. Maybe you can open it, like the project reference, just to check the.
Sorry, say that again.
The license of the project, like the Quill.js page.
Oh yeah, of course.
The Quill.js documentation, just to check the license, if we can embed it, if we can redistribute it, how maintained
good point. Yeah.
is it, and compared to Trumbowig or the other ones we have, like we could say no, it's not maintained enough, but maybe Trumbowig is not even maintained today.
The last, I think it was 9 months ago, but the mostly that's comments saying that they're not keeping it or bug fixing at the moment. So what's the license on here? BSD3 clause.
Okay, so that's good, I believe. Yeah, because we have BS2, we have BS3, we have MIT, so I believe that's fine.
Yeah, it looks okay.
Yeah, you see, the last release was a year ago exactly. So the question is, what are those people doing now? Like, are they working on a different thing? If it works, right? But
yeah, I mean, I think part of it is the drag and drop stuff. I think that could go anywhere, as you say. And Quill is there. Nick and I have found another editor that we really like as well. So Quill is just a slightly more modern, I think, than Trumbowig. But
you would not go to replace Trumbowig.
Sorry?
You would not go with replacing the Trumbowig that we have as default today.
No, more options, I guess. We've had a few issues. I can't remember exactly when we decided to build Quill. There was a bit of time where we battled Trumbowig over a few things, and I can't for the life of me remember what they are now. But I think it was extensibility. I think it's something to do with how, when some of the enhancements you can do with Trumbowig need to be in JSON, and so the JSON, in JavaScript, and it's very hard to embed the JavaScript in the JSON object when it's going through the sanitize JavaScript stuff. I think that was part of the problem, but I can't remember the exact details from when we were. Nick, do you remember what drove us to this?
I can't. I'm trying to remember what it was.
It was enough to make us go, we need a new editor, but we can't remember exactly why.
I think when we looked at our Trumbowig, hadn't been updated for a long time, but looking at it now, it looks like it was updated back in March of this year. So I think I'm just looking at the releases now. Yeah, I can't really see. But yeah, so it was just an experiment, wasn't it? Really, just to see about what other editors there were. We used Quill just as an experiment to see what that was like.
Yeah.
And then you wanted to come up with the GUI for it to make it, see how we could transform a JSON rather than putting JSON in, put a nice drag and drop system in.
Yeah, and this bubble UI has come in really handy with our clients, limiting and having that kind of simple UI. We use that a lot for titles and things. But
so one thing to remember is that the default HTML editor for the HTML field is Trumbowig, right?
Yeah.
And there is also a Trumbowig editor that sets it. The idea is that when you don't set an editor, we have to choose what's the actual editor you want to use. And today we default to Trumbowig. So users who don't set anything, they will get Trumbowig by default. When we change the editors, we have the option to add a new one, like you just did, Quill.js. So people they would have to opt in for this editor in the editor dropdown, and anyone will skip their Trombowig editor by default. And another option is to decide that, oh, we don't want Trombowig to be the default anymore. We want this one to be the default anymore, be it Quill.js or Texteria or whatever we want. So that's another option we have to say, we can make anything be the default editor now. And then when people edit their HTML by default, they get Quill.js. And if they really want Trombowig, well, pick now Trombowig as your explicit editor, right? These are the options we have.
Yeah.
And here, yeah, ideally, if we had a new editor, we should just make it an optional editor. And then if people start saying, oh, I always use this one, and this is the one people prefer, we could decide to make it the default one, such that if nobody decided anything about the editor, they will pick up whatever we said is the default. But they can still go back to whatever they had before.
Yeah.
So that we have these options. So I'm not opposed to adding an editor if it adds something, if it's open source, if it's easy to maintain. How many editors do we have today for HTML? Do you know? Can you go back on the content?
Yeah. So here.
Oh, we also have the Monaco. So I have Trombowig, which is default. Standard is the default option. Standard is the one that says use whatever. Yeah. So that's the agnostic one. And this one will be probably Trombowig.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. So
I think that if there's interest, we could also bring the GUI from the Quill one over to Trombowig and make it an optional. So you could either enter JSON or have a drag and drop option, maybe.
Yeah, that's always good, right? To have the choice, like you can in a tab switch between where you want to edit that, like because maybe the UI doesn't fit the needs of the JSON. So sometimes you can just edit it in JSON. Yeah, that's a different issue, but yeah, that would be super interesting because JSON is ugly when you want to edit things. If you have a UI, it's better for sure.
Cool.
And your UI looks nice. Yeah, I'm not opposed to having that. Then whoever has to say something. I'm not editing any HTML in Orchard, so you are. Others like Zoltan.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Mike.
I have one concern about the project being maintained, as you also pointed out. So it's not that there need to be commits like every day, but I see that the issues, the bug reports don't really get any attention either. So we need something that's actively maintained.
Yes. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, so that's a shame because otherwise it looks great. I also very much like that toolbar editor that you created. So indeed we should have something like that for every JSON configuration. By the way, is that extensible? So if you want to add a toolbar item from a different module, can you do that? I suppose you can, right?
Sorry, so if you wanted to add a different toolbar from,
like I want to add a button for my module into the toolbar Quill. Will that show up in that content field or part editor, and will I be able to just put it somewhere?
Yeah, I think you can definitely create your own custom plugins to extend Quill. I don't know if I don't know to what level you can do that in a kind of user-friendly way. It's going to be more manual and code-based.
That's fine.
Keep extending it. That's not a problem.
I mean, can you add such plugins from a different module than your Quill module?
Have you got an example? Sorry.
Yeah, like with the Trombowig editor, we have a button for shortcodes and we have a button for the media library, but those buttons are not actually in the Trombowig module or HTML module, or which one is it? But they are in the media and the shortcodes modules, and they extend the Trombowig editor.
Of course. I think that's possible, but I just have to go and look at the implementation. I'm more than happy to go and check to see how they're doing it and see if I can make the same thing happen with.
Well, It's more
Cool.
about how Orchard module is doing it. Like the Trombowig
Yes.
module
Oh, yeah,
has
no,
custom
sorry.
interface to say like iTrombowig extension, and then other modules will depend on that and implement the interface to say this is how you take this JavaScript, take this plugin that contains the title, the icon, and the JavaScript, and then the Trombowig module will just inject this JavaScript
Yes.
in the correct calls to Trombowig, and that I assume you will have to do the same thing. So copy what the Trombowig module is doing to make it extensible, if we want to make it extensible.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I think that is that's quite important. So I'm going to go away and have a look at that.
If Quill.js has extensions, because maybe Quill.js has everything inside Quill.js, Trombowig is actually made of different plugins. That's why it's important. So I don't know.
Yeah, I've definitely seen other people creating things for
Modules,
plugins
yeah, I see modules.
for Quill. So I think it should be possible, but that's definitely a code challenge I can go away and have a look at.
When I go to the Quill.js playground, I don't see your editor, which is without a toolbar and just you select and it shows. What? How does it work? Like, where is that?
Guess.
You see here, I see a toolbar: normal, bold, italic.
So if you do, is it the bubble bit where you so if I change
interesting.
So you can then go and they've got their bounds up badly, but it doesn't do that on my one. Promise.
Oh, it's a theme.
Yes.
Urban
Yeah.
theme. That's weird. Okay, I get it.
Cool. Shall I stop sharing?
Thank you. So next step depends on what we want to do. If we want to integrate it, it goes with a PR. And then you can say next you will add modules like extensibility. And it won't be the default one, so people can play with it and understand what it is. And then maybe one day people will say, okay, I want it to be the default because we only use this one. But yeah, if you can try to make it a module, that would be great. Then you don't have to maintain it yourself, or at least on your own repository.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the next step.
Great.
Unless people don't want Quill.js in Orchard.
That's fine as well.
And yeah, it would be nice to understand what's their stance right now with the next features, bug fixing. Not that we know it for Trombowig, but when we injected Trombowig, there was activity. So that.
Yeah, of course.
So maybe they're working on something new that is better, and then we should know. It would be interesting. We should try to track those main developers, what they do right now.
Yeah, I'll spend some more time researching what's going on, what
cool.
they're working on.
Thank you. Blocks, do you want to do blocks now or next week? If you want to come back next week.
Yeah, I'm happy to do blocks now if everybody wants to.
Okay, yes, let's do blocks now. You're here. So
yeah, I'm here. Let me I'll share my screen. Let's hope I have better luck than Al sharing my screen. Hopefully, can everybody see my screen okay? I'll
yes.
Yeah, so just a quick recap then for anybody who wasn't at Orchard Harvest last week. We want to make it easier for content editors to add sort of widgets to a page in the back part, and we found it very difficult using the standard out-of-the-box picker because it was sort of a drop-down list, which is fine if you've only got a few sort of widgets, but with a lot of our sites we have a lot of them, and the way that we kind of build up pages for the websites, we refer to them as blocks rather than widgets. just because blocks kind of described more sections of a page, and the way that our clients build page is by building up these stacking blocks, basically. So we wanted a sort of a better way for our clients to see what blocks they were adding to a page. So we wanted to come up with a visual picker. And so what we did is we added a new editor for the bag part called Blocks. And essentially what this does is it replaces the little drop down with this little button called Add Block. We click this, and this then shows a modal with all the available blocks within the system, and it also shows them a visual or an image of what they would look like when added to the page. As you can see with this is the Buzz website, you can see there's quite a lot of blocks on this site because there's quite a lot of pages, quite a lot of content. The marketing department are never happy. They always want more blocks. They always want different layouts. So we've added these over the time. So for them, it's really easy for them to find exactly what they want, because obviously they've got such good visual representation of what it is. What's kind of nice about this as well is you can categorize the blocks as well. So you've kind of got here, you can click on content or forms. As you see, we've got a harvest one that we did while I was there. So yeah, people can sort of filter down that way. And then of course as well, they can also do a search as well, which will then bring up the blocks that they're after. So yeah, that's kind of just a quick overview of the block system. So like I said before, all it was just another editor for the bag part. And like I said, let me just go through. If I just show you an example of how those blocks kind of get categorized and the images get added. So if I just do find text and image on here, that one's the better one. So we have every sort of block. We have a part called a block part, which is this one down here. And this has the settings. And in here, this is where you can set what category the block would be in, and also as well the preview image where that may be. Like I said, during the harvest event, we've left this as kind of like a text field because it may be stored in many places. You know, we might want to store this in the media library, or it might want to be an image in the theme that is enabled. By default, we have got this sort of path here that it will look inside the current active theme, and it will use the content type name, and it will try and find that image in there. So if you didn't specify it in here, but you had it in your theme, it would still show without any extra input in here. So yeah, so that's kind of how you categorize the blocks. And with the bag part itself, I'll just go back to, this was the page where we had it on. Like I said before, it's just a bag part with an editor of blocks, and then we just set the stereotype. So basically anything with stereotype of block, we're just allowing them to get picked basically. So yeah, so that's kind of like the block editor. Do you want to see any of this code, anything that how we're sort of doing this, or any questions so far?
Yeah. So your block content types, they have the block stereotype. That was too quick. I didn't see that. Now I see.
Yeah. So the blocks have a stereotype of block. Yeah.
And did you implement it in a way that the part was automatically added, or do you have to add it?
At the minute, we just have to add it manually.
Mike, you made the feature, right, that when we have a stereotype, it adds
Yep.
part automatically? Okay.
System, yep. System
Okay.
content parts.
Okay, so that's a possibility that when someone says block stereotype, then the part is there automatically. So you can't remove it and can't add it, it's there. That might be easier. Now, blocks are not widgets because they are blocks, because there is a custom block part. They don't have the widget part, or do they have the widget part?
So say that again.
But does a block have a widget part also?
No, it doesn't. No. Sorry.
It
Isn't
looks
the
like he have like a block part maybe that allow you to select blocks.
No,
The-
the block editor will allow you to select blocks and not widgets. That's the thing. So did you
Correct.
just
The
copy,
block part, that's a part, correct?
did you just copy the whole back part editor and changed everything that reference widget to reference block instead?
Yes. Well, let me just bear with me 1 second. I believe, because essentially we originally we did just leave it as widgets, but again we wanted to kind of use the same terminology, blocks. I'm just double checking that because we didn't want to override too many things in this. We want to try and keep everything as simple as possible. I'm just checking the code now. Doing.
Well, your issue is that any change on the widget would be a breaking change, and then
Yeah.
you can't keep up with the changes in object core. The next question I have is that should we just update widget to have what you made to block, like an image, like like an icon, like an image, even if it's optional, so it doesn't break anyone.
Mm.
Should we change the UI to say whenever it's called widget, it's called blocks, but technically the file name for us is still widget, but for users, it's called the block.
Yeah.
Like these things, like something that can make it better without breaking anything and without having to maintain two different things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, how do you explain to user, oh, you have widgets and you have blocks? They're the same thing, but a block has a background. What? And then, but if I have widgets, can I add a block now? No, you can't. You have to redo everything.
Maybe the back part can have a setting to specify the stereotype. By default, it will be widget. But if you want to change it to blocks, then you can just change the stereotype from widget to block and everything falls in place.
You transition, but how do you explain the difference between blocks and widgets?
Oh,
And
you
also
don't. It's
the
a
picker
editor.
Yeah, like the nice thing also here is the picker. When you pick a widget, I would call them widgets, then it's not just a drop down, it's a pop-up, which we could do today instead of a drop down. So there is no really advantage of creating a new thing. Could just replace the thing because it's not breaking if you keep calling it widgets internally. We could even call them widgets still to the same thing, but called widgets, and then somehow at some point call it block, right?
Yeah, so I suppose, like you said, if we keep it as a bag part and you keep it as widgets, essentially the only difference really is when you click on this, it says block just because we refer to it block.
Right.
But so this could be a setting is on the bag part that defaults to widgets, and you could whoever could customize it to say whatever they want, say add block or allow them to enter whatever.
It's localization. With localization, we could rename this label to add block, even if by default it says add widget.
Yeah.
If we don't want to break that, like we could say, because in the current back part, this button could create a model to list all the widgets, because this is what we do. Okay, you click and there is a model, and they are categorized because widgets are categorized.
Yeah.
And then they have a background and have an icon, whatever. And so this pop-up here could just be in parts today. We don't need a new editor to change that. And that will still work with widgets.
Yeah.
Everything could still be widgets. It's just about, so widgets today, widgets have categories today or not? I don't remember. Do widgets have categories?
I don't think we do.
No, we don't.
Okay,
No.
so that's a new thing. Widgets could have categories. By default, they have no categories. So existing widgets are not categorized, or people who created widgets, they are like all or none. And then the new widgets could have, oh, I have a category now. Cool. You can display you in the correct thing. And the new widgets, they have all the new widgets. The new types, like we could assign a background a thumbnail, whatever, a preview to a widget, and then it will work. Like we could make this happen today, like whatever you did based on widgets. And then in the back part editor, like when each of these here, there are different blocks, right? Like I see project management, update, like behind that. When you edit a block, how does it look like? Is it the same as widgets?
Yeah, the editing experience is.
This is the same. Okay.
Yeah, we haven't changed anything for that.
Yeah, there might be something special, but no. And
the only thing we did is we just using placements, put things in tabs just to clean the UI up for the client. But all these are exactly the same as widgets. There's no extra.
And this is back part, but in a flow part. Do you have blocks in flow parts?
We do. We don't use flow part just because it was quite, for our users, it was quite complicated, so we've never used a flow part. Okay. We made a very conscious decision at the beginning.
Yeah, you have layouts. That's okay. But today, flow parts also use widgets.
Yes.
So if widgets were your blocks, then they would also work with flow part, and they will also work with the dashboard, the admin dashboard, the customizable dashboard, which you might not know about, but because nobody uses it, but it's super useful.
Yeah.
Well, nobody uses it. I don't know. I'm not using it, but I'm not using the flow part either. So yeah, so I see a transition to blocks because this is an improvement by just updating widgets. So there is no such thing as block. It's just widgets.
Yeah.
It's the first thing. Like technically, we could make all the good things you've done in block in widgets. So, and this way, this is the native experience. The next step is, do we want to call them widgets in the UI, or do we want to call them blocks? Do we want to make it configurable, or is the current configurability sufficient? Because we can change all the labels and everything by using localization. So we could have a feature that just hacks the default localization for widgets and calls it blocks, right? If you wanted to do that, or maybe you can decide also, well, let's go bold and Orchard 3, it's not called widgets anymore, it's just called blocks. It doesn't change your code, it's just the UI calls it a block. And the translations will have to be updated or not, because the translation in French can still call it widget if it's called widget. And
I think it makes sense to keep calling the widgets inside the design, because those are like with the rules. But here it makes sense. It makes more sense to call them blocks than calling them widgets.
I see, like a block here, contextually, the widget in a part or in a flow part is a block, but technically it's a widget. So we don't change the file names, we don't change the types, we don't change anything. The parts is just, we agree, right? It's just how we call it in the UI, like for the users. That's what you said, Mike? I just want to rephrase.
Yeah. Here, keep calling it blocks, but in the design, widgets is more appropriate, I think.
Yeah. That's what.
When you say the design, you really mean the design here. Menu. I see.
Yeah. So here I would still call them widgets because those are what these are. And then the other one is blocks. It makes sense to me.
I would not be opposed to call it widgets also in the design menu, like in the layers. So block is a term that probably we talked about when we created this feature, but maybe we decided to call it widget because it's called blocks in Drupal, and we don't want it to be named the same as Drupal. That might be an option. Like, I don't know. Maybe in 10 years we'll say blocks is stupid. We should find a new name, like snippets or whatever. I know it's all based on taste. So I have no opinion, like what users understand.
Yeah, but I think I like the fact that he's calling it blocks here, because here it's a building blocks. So he's building blocks to accomplish whatever it is that he wants. Right. So building blocks, that's the terminology is used here. I think that's why I like personally.
When I hear block, yes, I think more about some concept. So than a widget, like more of a type of thing. So when you add a block, it's more natural to say, oh, you will be provided with a list of these types of things. Which one do you want to add? So that I don't feel bad with seeing block here. So, we can find a discussion to see what people think about renaming widgets to blocks publicly, not in the code, because we can't change that. That would be breaking everything, databases, files, everything. So we can still say when we develop widgets, but in the UI they are called blocks. Or even give multiple names, widgets, blocks, snippets, wherever it's used based on the context, dashboard item, whatever. But internally, they will all render widgets.
But just to go back one step, the back part isn't tied to widgets. You can just select any content type.
Oh, cool.
Or
but we filter stereotypes on that.
Yeah, you can choose if you want to add content types or content type based on stereotypes.
No, back part you have to say it has to be a widget.
No,
wait.
It doesn't have to be.
Stereotype, you see? You can select the stereotype
or
the types you want to add. I see. So yeah, so it's not even block actually. It can be anything. That actually makes it more complicated because people could have chosen to add specific types. So when they say add something, it might not be add. So maybe it's a configuration here. Like,
yeah, so I mean, with that, it could be a configuration because obviously, like I said before, the only thing that this really changes is the text that this button displays, and also maybe the text here. So that could be configurable in the bag part itself in the settings.
okay.
So people can call it whatever they want. I mean, under the hood, it would be widgets or whatever they want. Like I said, it doesn't have to be widgets because it can be any type of content types. So, but if we allow a configuration in the bag part, people can call it whatever they want.
But in your editor, you only look at blocks.
Yeah, we just set the stereotype for blocks. Yeah.
And that's important because you use that information in the UI because you look at the categories on the left, you have a background. If I take a blog post, I don't have a background, a thumbnail. I don't have a category.
So yeah, but you can add the new part and then you have those categories.
Yeah, it's just the part that gets added.
What I mean is that if we made a button that displays something like this, it would only be interesting for the thing that have this part.
Yes.
So
yes.
So any type we have today, and people might rely on that, they will open this UI, and well, it won't be uglier than what it is today, actually, right? And we can say here are some categories for whatever has the part, but the other ones that don't have the part, they will use a default thumbnail and a default category, which is nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that will work. Okay.
Yeah, I think if it doesn't have a category or a part attached, it says uncategorized, and then it shows anything there. So if you do add a content type that doesn't have that part, it doesn't break. It just shows it'll just show. It won't show any image, and it will basically just show you the content type name, and that's all it will show you. So it doesn't break. And then, yeah.
Can you show us your block part? Because we could call it block part, actually. That would be fine. Yeah. And we could add a block part to a blog post, such that when a blog post is rendered in these pages, then we can categorize them and have a thumbnail. So the block, so yeah, there is the preview. So you call it a preview image. I called it a thumbnail, but I forgot that you called it a preview image. And you have a category. Okay, that's the two things. So this this could be applied to anything, and we don't have even to link it to a stereotype. We don't even need a stereotype. Maybe we have a stereotype, and it will force the block part, but we could have this block part to other things.
Yeah, it's not tied to it's not tied to a stereotype or anything like that.
So we could keep the widget stereotype and add the block part when we want to create a widget with a block or post with a block as a block. Okay. And maybe it's not called block internally as the part. Maybe it's called, like, I don't know, categorized part or whatever. Maybe, I don't know. Like, just because block is more like a UI thing than a technical thing.
Sure.
Behavioral thing. Okay. So what we need, a new part that you currently call the block part, that should be more generic, like description part or something like. I have just more generic. Okay. We need to update the different UI pieces where it shows you a nice model with the preview image, the thing that you have, exactly the same. That just lists all the content types, not just the block, which the block stereotype, all the content types that are limited by this black part, because the black part has a limit. So you just display all the same thing as today from the drop down, but in a model. Yep. And if the new block part is there, just use that in the categories and the thumbnail, or use a random standard thumbnail.
Yeah.
Review and 3 lines of code, and it works. Done.
The other thing I always say, the way I'd say as well is, like, for instance, we have this block here, and this contains a bag part. So this is for adding FAQs. So this one doesn't use the picker, because there's only one content type that it can add, which is an FAQ content type. But I think there's some blocks as well on here that we have. I can't remember which one it is. It still uses that drop down menu, because maybe there's only like maybe 1 or 2 content types it can add, and it doesn't make sense for it to display a picker, because it doesn't need an image, if that makes sense. So, like, for instance, this, you wouldn't need a picker for an FAQ, because it's just an FAQ and you're inside that block, an FAQ block. So
so when there is only one possibility, don't show the picker, just instantiate.
Yeah, but yeah, are we talking about making it the standard, as the standard editor is going to be the picker? But if we're doing that, I think we probably do need to retain the drop down as a separate editor that can be selected.
So maybe replace every button by a thing that either is just a button that adds or opens a model that will then add. So it's contextual and maybe customizable.
Yeah.
The same way we have for the content type picker today. We have a component called the content type picker.
Yep.
Because we use it everywhere.
Yep.
Or maybe it's a filter, I don't know which one it is. And then make this also component. So you can pass an argument like always model, or by default it shows, or just drop down, or just no drop down, just add, because there is only one, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's only one, then it should just default to, add whatever.
Yeah, there is no reason to show picker. If there are 2, just open the model. Which one do you want?
Yeah. But the multiple one, but I'm just thinking, rather than having a setting, you could just have it keep it as a separate editor, couldn't we? Just with a drop down, just say an editor of a drop down instead of standard.
No, I would say I would be fine if it's more than 1, like 2. Just put the full model, and you will see 2 thumbnails, and this one.
Okay.
I think that will be fine.
Okay.
I'm not a UI expert though, but as a user, I'm like, I have a choice. I can see, because you want to show people what it represents. So why would not be able to see if there are 2? Like, I don't know which one it is. There are only 2, but I still don't know. I'm dumb. So show me. No, sometimes it's just, it's nice to browse, to find, but sometimes even for a decision, that's the one I want. Yes.
Yeah.
So I would be fine with a model and just a button when there is 1.
I
would be bothered if there were 1 and it opens me with only 1 choice.
Yeah. That makes no sense, but yeah.
Okay, that looks good. So, and in the end, your advantage is that it's a default experience in Orchard, so you don't have anything to maintain and to add differently.
That would be nice.
But we need to be careful that your experience is not limited also in terms of extensibility or user experience, like naming everything. Like if we need a setting to change the name of the button because you want to call it blocks and not widget, localization won't be an issue because we have the same issue with content types. Like if you name a content type article, then you need to localize it, and that's then the dynamic localization.
Yeah.
So that will work the same. Okay.
But yeah, we can make those. We can get those changes in and get a PR for that.
Yeah, that would be great. I don't think that would be a lot of code because less code than your module where we had to duplicate everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that would be great. Okay.
When can you open the pull request?
Sorry, what's that, Sultan?
When can you open a pull request? What do you think?
I will see if I can crack on with that.
The night is long.
Yeah, like in 2 hours.
It's also very late as well here.
That's what I'm saying, the night. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, whenever. But that would be great. Okay. Okay. Apparently, Zoltan wants to ship a new website and he needs that.
Actually, yes. And I would also like us to ship 3.0, but with this included.
We can always push 3 all the time. Or we can ship a 3.1.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Awesome.
There's a bit of more functionality on the layout side, but I think I'll save that for next week.
Yeah, layout is a different talk, but still interesting. I think we have issues explaining how we could make this layout logic like reusable things. Yeah. I need to find the issue we filed about the design, clinical design, but what you did is much more than what we envisioned. Okay, yeah, that's awesome. That's great already. Thanks, Nick and Alchin. So, do we do triage now or next week? What do people want?
Did we finish the status actually?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, oh, sorry, triage. Yeah, I meant status.
There might not be much, so if you want to do it, do it.
Okay, I will do it. Sure. Yeah.
George weren't active and nothing has done.
Copilot, he made Copilot work. So
some people were having fun in Prague and some people were actually working.
Fix area labeled. Because let's remove it. I will assume that it's wrong or not necessary. And probably a new contributor.
That's good.
Yep. Sync user ID column length in AuditTrail table with others. Okay. In database, because it can be bigger. And that is the create and updating the size date. So that's good. It's good.
Why would the user ID be longer than 26 if we generate it?
I know the issue explained it because when you have OpenID, I think it was coming with some kind of emails. But I think it was explaining the issue.
I don't think it should. That's up to the user configuration because the user can configure it with whatever ID. When you create the OpenID user, you can tell it how you want the ID to be, and you can just say, I want my 26 characters.
Maybe you want
256
characters?
It's 256 everywhere. So
the problem was that this specific column was out of sync with the same data somewhere else. And yeah, then this was pretty much exceptions.
Yeah, it's for consistency because if you have a value that can be more than, yeah. That's right.
Yeah, maybe the 256, 255 should have been just changed back to 26 for consistency.
Maybe if they file the issue, they add the issue.
I don't know.
Let's ask. Update dependencies, Identity.Web 4. Jump, but no breaking change. Documentation for menu tag, because someone found an issue. We ask Copilot to add the thing, and what's magic here, and that needs to be mentioned because it's very, very nice, is that someone filed a good issue, meaning it was described correctly with the details and where they wanted the things to be, what they were missing. So we just asked Copilot to implement it. And what we got is Copilot made the documentation in the correct location, but we suggested the location. And it rendered a screenshot of how the documentation looks like once the change is merged. So it ran the documentation site generation. It opened the site, created a snapshot, a screenshot, and updated the PR with the final result. So we have an idea of, yeah, it works, it's beautiful, this is how we want to see it. So it just merged. It's awesome. Update non-breaking dependencies. By the way, there is something new. I need to check what, but there is some JSON schema support in system text JSON in the net 10. So we need to check that. I don't know exactly what, but I know some like Microsoft extensions AI is using STJ10 because they have JSON schema support. Date update convert statuses to string into integers. So this is an NM, and this is a string. This is, what is that? Oh. So yes, SQL supports the two. Mike told me that it was casting correctly.
Yeah, it's a string in the database.
Okay. Yeah, I remember this PR. Okay, good. So now it's using that like in the database. What did I change recently? Oh yeah, in Fluid, now enums are also rendered as string by default and not as integers by default. Because I realized that that's what people want when they do templating, and if they render an enum, they want to see the string, don't want to see the number. Like, oh, it's value 1. Sure. Why is that? Move RuleService to OC.Rules. So before it was in the module, now it's in the core module. Okay, the core package. Okay, looks good. Skip. I checked. I saw AuditTrail, and I'm like, okay. Again, Andre is using AuditTrail. I hate that. We had this discussion.
I was just gonna say that I hate that too.
I agree. I
it.
hate it as well. So.
Great. Zoltan, I'm sure you like it, just to mess up with us.
I don't like it, but I don't see how we could do this better.
I read the method. When I see that, my brain is like, it's a method. And then when I see that, I'm like, what's the name of the property? Is it uppercaseation or is it lowercaseation? Where is it? I'm like, I'm always confused.
Oh, sorry, you were talking about the syntax. Oh, okay. I thought the implementation.
Oh, the change. Okay. You don't like the change? Okay, that's interesting.
Well, it's a workaround for
Oh boy,
SQLite.
what is that? Who merged that? George,
That
what do
was
you do?
me.
No, that wasn't me.
I read it. I think it works, but I don't particularly like that we have to do this, but we have to.
Therefore, we skip the following migration. I say no. We don't skip
run
the
it
migration.
anyway. Run it anyway.
Or do some SQL or do whatever, or no. I mean, so what do we
Because-
do then? So what?
Yes, SQL should be smart enough to say, well, I don't care about the length in this case. And I think it does. So I don't think that check is needed.
I'm not even sure
there's-
that's my argument. My argument is more like, what if someone is using SQLite, and what if, so for an exception, like, oh no, well, I mean, your application doesn't work, so just go use SQL Server. So what is it? So what is it doing?
But it's failing
This-
in with SQLite.
Oh, it's the
yeah,
thing from
this
earlier.
builds on the previous fix. Yeah, so this
I
was an
see.
exception with SQLite, but it's not actually needed for SQLite.
Update from one. Yeah, okay, so the current databases have 26, and we want to update to 255, but SQLite doesn't support changing the thing. What table is it? AuditTrail.
No, I don't think he's changing the length, because if you look at line 35, which was removed, it was 255 and now it's
No.
255.
No, it's together with the PR before.
The one we just talked about, this one.
Oh, I
This
see.
one changes to 26, but then they started to run, and oh, it fails on SQLite because this will fail on SQLite.
Yes.
Yeah, this should be
And-
part of yes SQL, not here, like this condition. Yes SQL should be like, well, I can't alter length because of the SQL or because of SQLite, and you should just ignore it or do something else.
If
It's
YesSQL
a
was doing
dialogue
something,
thing.
if I was the developer of YesSQL, I would throw an exception, and then it will still not work. I would throw an exception saying, oh, it fails, doesn't work. You should not do that with SQLite. So here, it will still be a problem. Because I will not tell you as the YesSQL developer, just, oh, everything went well. Good luck now. But didn't do anything. No, I will throw an exception, not supported exception. Like what you're doing is not working with SQLite. So don't think that it did actually do the thing. So you will still have to do an if here. I don't know what exception is currently throwing. Maybe YesSQL is currently throwing the exception actually, but I will throw an exception. And here I would prefer, instead of just ignoring the issue that is 255, I will write the SQL for SQLite, or do whatever SQLite requires to do the thing if YesSQL is not doing. And YesSQL won't do that because there are too many assumptions there. Like if you want to change the size of the column in YesSQL or in SQLite, I assume we have to create a new column and copy the values and then delete the old one, or create a tab table, copy and copy again, or provide a script in a changelog to tell people you need to update your database to do that. But there is nothing here that does any of these. So this isn't blocking, but at that point, I would just revert the previous commit and then find a good solution and then commit the solution. And that goes back to there. Did you actually have an issue like document template? So we'll probably on Thursday talk about it and just revert the two of them, find an issue, talk on the issue, understand what the original issue is, and once we know what needs to be done, do it. instead of back and forth here and just ignoring. The argument we'll get is that this code here is just doing the same thing as it was doing before, so it's not that bad. But I don't like to have a different state of different databases. Because the next thing is that, oh crap, we have now two things to update, for SQL Server and for SQLite. So if we need to add a colon, then we need to do that. Bad thing.
Just to clarify, so we have a column size defined for this user ID here, but that's not something that would take effect in SQLite. So that affects everything that we have with a length defined. We can't. I don't think we can do anything better here, even if we do something super complicated for a small update.
We'll gather feedback on the issue, where we'll talk about it, I believe, and then decide.
All right.
Because I want to see this user's feedback also, where the issue appears, because Mike says there is no issue. You can't have an issue. So we'll see. If there is no issue,
well, maybe there is an issue, but it's a configuration issue, not a code issue, at least from what I see. I could be.
No, I think we allow user IDs being like longer than 26, and it's just in the AuditTrail where it's shorter. And now we can't reduce the size because of existing users.
So are you saying only in AuditTrail we allow long user ID?
No, only in AuditTrail we have 26, or we had 26 characters, and everything else is to 55 or 6, I don't know.
So it works. Why doesn't it work? I'm missing here. Because I know at some point it was not, or maybe there was something that was not supported in SQLite, then they made it happen. So I'm confused. So I click there and I click there. Okay. I click there. Alter index table, alter colon. So maybe it's a bug in SQL. Maybe it is actually supported. Oh, varchar. Since there's no varchar length limits. No, it's text. There is no varchar in SQL. It's text. There is one type, it's text. So maybe the SQL is wrong in SQL. But there must be a test to do that. Like there is a command. So let's look at the test. Okay, I will look into it and we'll see more. Maybe there is no, maybe it is SQL that needs to be fixed. Maybe it can be fixed. That's, yeah, Mike is right. If SQL can be fixed, it should be fixed in SQL. My assumption is that no, it's a SQLite limitation, but if it's not a SQLite limitation, then SQL should be fixed. This one now, fix confirm email link in RegisterUserTask. What kind of craziness is that? Email confirmation controller name. This is the local, this is what? The other controller. Controller name, oh, what is that? Is that a new thing?
No, that's an existing extension.
That we did?
Yeah.
Years
This
ago.
is copied from some other part of the code.
Because we had the same.
All it does, it just trims the word controller.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Okay, and before it was saying what?
Before it's in the registration, and I have no idea how it ever worked.
Okay, it never.
It did.
Or maybe it worked at some point
I
where
worked on
something
this,
else.
feature in March and it worked, and now it fails, but I have no idea why.
If you really want to.
It was the link is wrong, but I don't know why.
You know, there was a lot have changed to that user module where things became more features. Maybe this one was missed.
Yeah, but I looked at the history and
There is a result.
I have no idea how it was working because it should have failed for years.
You do a script for every commit, build, run, launch a unit test, and boom. You will know. So this one. Display async, RenderWhen.
I forced him to revert it.
Oh, it's reverted?
Yeah, it's
okay. Because there is no reason. That could be a reason, but we don't care.
No, there's no reason. This is just bad for performance. And
there is no performance gain here. It's just masking about the stack trace, but
it's allocating more.
It is? Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
but even
there, it's another.
Most who cares? Yeah. But I mean, if it's nicer, but it's not nicer, I think. It's working. Okay,
it's working.
I'm missing. Maybe sometimes for consistency, we could say, okay, let's normalize everything to be the same.
Yeah, it wasn't consistent in this. That was Hisham's idea, but I think it's now better because he removed it everywhere.
I loved it when it was on a single line. I made it this way on purpose. I found it like neat, like everything aligned, and I could see which property.
Yeah, he just pushed this PR without even checking what he does, and reverted it because it's introducing a new bug, and he had to do it again.
Yeah. How is that introducing a new bug?
Yeah, because with useCdn, he's overwriting the name, just one line below. He sets the wrong variable.
Where was that? There was nothing.
Yeah, that's missing.
Ah, that's the bug.
And now he.
Oh, it's not a line. Oh, name, useCdn is not okay. Okay, revert. useCdn, remove unnecessary weights in RenderWhen. Okay, and useCdn in ScriptBlock. Ah, now we have it again. useCdn there.
Yeah, but now it's correct.
Where was useCdn? Oh, this is the bug. Okay.
That's
okay, so the feature. This is about adding that. Okay. I loved my single lines.
I'm not going to discuss formatting.
You have reached enlightenment, or?
Yeah,
I think vertical programming
actually,
is
I tried
better
to not
than
discuss
one.
it.
We should just use brainfuck.
Yes.
I like virtual programming over horizontal, but I wouldn't change a code and submit a PR just because I feel that way.
I won't. No, here it was to add something, and at the same time, it just changed. I'm wondering why we are not calling that all the time, because everything is calling that. So this could be probably be done before, no, but yeah, even here we do that. So maybe it should be called once there, and then use the variable. Maybe nicer. So we are removing some of this boilerplate code, and that makes it unreadable. The single line will still be even better. But... okay, add Mike as winner. What? He didn't win. I let him win. Mike winner. Yeah. Fix typo in read 30. Catch. So whenever I see that, I prefer to do a search. Oh, not anymore, apparently. Well, let's see. For hardcore, wow. Hardcore mode. So hardcore where there is no, how do you say that? Not an M. Something like that. Now, how do you say? Oh, wait. Here. Boom. Not an M or an S or parentheses. Hardcore.
Just use the end of line word.
Yeah. Okay, so apparently there is none. It's good because even, well, I could also have said in the alternate color. Nope, there is none. Good, better. Migrate to .NET 10. Is it reverted? No, so it hasn't broken much. So now it's using .NET 10. So you need .NET 10 to build it, and it only targets .NET 10. I read your comment, Zoltan, on the discussion. I don't think it was about, it said you didn't like it. There was some, yeah, so I'm like, okay, .NET 10 then.
Yeah, I agree.
The idea is that people, if they want to treat 3, they will install it with .NET 10. Today we force them to use 8 or 9. Well, now we force them to use 10. It should not be an issue. And at the conference, somebody said they had an issue with that. We had the topic during the panel. So, and now we can say we can use the .NET 10 stuff, remove all the if conditions and use the .NET 10 specific stuff if we want. Updates, all done. Thanks everyone.